Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining this webinar on the Society Research Calls. My name is Dr. Azza Abdel Munaim. I'm the Senior Research Program Manager, and my colleague, Dr. Omar Abdel Sattar, a Senior Research Program Specialist, will be joining me in this webinar speaking about the three Society Research Calls. Next slide, please. This webinar is going to be introducing three calls. The first one is on lifelong educational cycle, which is the second cycle, and it's in a joint partnership with Education Above All. And the second cycle, the second webinar, or the second call, sorry, is going to be on agentic artificial intelligence. And this is the first cycle in partnership with Qatar Financial Center. We also have the third call under the society pillar, which is Voices Through Time. And it's in partnership with Qatar Museum, and this is the first cycle. There's a differentiation between the first two calls and the third call. Call number 1 and call number 2, those are rapid research calls, which are for 6 months. And call number 3, it's on a national research call, which is for 2 years. What's the agenda for today? We are going to be presenting an overview of the research priority areas for each call. And we're also going to speak about the application and how you apply your proposal. We are also going to speak about what's the budget for each call, because each call has a differentiation in budget. We're also going to speak about the pre-award stage and the timeline for each call, because each call has its own submission deadlines, opening for application, submission deadlines, research office vetting, etc., screening and results for that. And we'll also be going to have and open the floor for any questions and answers that are related to each call or that comes from your end, or if you have any questions that you want to raise, we're happy to help you and support you in answering those questions. I'll speak about the first call, which is a lifelong education, which is abbreviation of it is LILAC, and this is in the second cycle. And we have launched it in partnership with Education Above All. And we also have the joint funders with us here in the webinar. And the objective of this call is to develop effective evidence-based policies that address challenges related to education transformation in the context of Qatar. We also wanted to assess how Qatar commitments to transforming education have been actualized over time. We wanted to advocate for strategic efforts to foster collaboration among relevant parties to create a more inclusive and equitable education system, promote environment conducive to education excellence. More or less, policies related to addresses the challenges related to the education transformation in the context of Qatar. Most importantly is how to assess this Qatar commitment in order to transform this education, and the advocacy for the new strategies in order to foster this collaboration among relevant parties and to have an environment conducive to education excellence. Next slide, please. There is one research priority area in this call, which is the implementation pathways for green education curriculum integration in Qatar. And by that, we want to address certain issues. While you are preparing your proposal, it is important to take into consideration how we wanted to assess existing curricula and policies to identify gaps in green education. So we wanted to see what are the existing policies while you're drafting your proposal, what's the existing curricula and policies, and what are the gaps in order to identify green education. We wanted also to see what are the best practices that aligns with Qatar context and values. There are a lot of best practices worldwide, but we wanted to make sure that are they aligning with Qatar's context and values. We wanted also to strengthen the teacher and leadership capacity for effective climate education, because it's important to know that what are the capacities for the teachers and what are their leadership in order to have an effective climate education. We also wanted to check that if you are integrating and blending learning and digital tools to support sustainability outcomes. How are the families are engaged in communities, and how can they extend their learning of green education beyond the schools? How can we pilot and refine those climate education models through stakeholders' feedback? Most importantly is that we wanted also to align those initiatives with our national strategies, which are the Sustainable Development Goals, the NDCs, the UNESCO frameworks, Qatar National Vision 2030. By looking at those, in the RFA, there is questions that you have to answer while you are designing your framework or while you are preparing your application. Most importantly is that the alignment of your proposal has to answer the research priority area for this call, which is designing and implementing pathway for green education curriculum integration in Qatar. That's the most important aspect for this call. Next slide, please. Applicants may leverage the education above all resources when relevant to their proposals. In such cases, applicants, they need to identify and justify the utilization aspects of the resources in the relevant section of the research plan. And as I said, most importantly is the alignment to the research question or the priority area. And that is why we would like to encourage and to leverage to the use of the education above all resources. And you have to, well, we encourage that you need to emphasize how you're going to use the resources and how you're going to justify it, and that it has to be placed, of course, in the relevant sections in the research plan. At the moment, it's important to have a support letter, but it is not mandatory. And we emphasize that at this stage, it's not mandatory. Once you get awarded and hopefully everything goes well, then it will be asked if there is you will be asked to submit a letter of support from Education Above All. And this is for the first call, which is on LILAC. I give the floor to my colleague, Dr. Omar Abdel Sattar. He will be speaking about the second call. Dr. Omar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Azza. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. My name is Omar Abdel Sattar, also in the social science department. Let's get straight into it. The second call, which is also a rapid call, is the Agentic AI call, abbreviated AAIC, in partnership with Qatar Financial Center, and this will be our first call. The objectives, obviously to assist QFC to achieve its strategic objectives. Specifically, there are three aims. Number one is to strengthen policy and regulatory frameworks. Two, enhance the competitiveness and innovation. And three, advance applied research in agentic AI. Now, when we talk about agentic AI, we're talking about autonomous systems that can independently plan, reason, and execute tasks with minimal human involvement. So I urge our applicants to differentiate between agentic AI, unlike generative AI, that one creates content based on our prompts. Agentic AI uses tools, memory, environmental feedback to act on its own. In terms of the research priority areas of this call, we are required to address the following questions. What are the pathways to responsible adoption of agentic AI? How can global regulatory strategies and ethical standards be contextualized to safeguard against misuse? And what practical frameworks can be devised and implemented in the financial sector in Qatar to ensure that agentic AI systems operate with transparency, accountability, and alignment with national goals? The next slide is similar to the Education Above All in the same way that applicants may leverage the QFC resources when relevant to their proposals. Obviously, most importantly, when we're working with a client or a end user is the alignment to the research question, but also the objectives. Again, the supporting letter is recommended but not mandatory. And obviously, to contact the point of contact here for QFC for any inquiries and requests. Now, I will pass the mic to Dr. Azza for our third call, which is a NRG rather than a rapid. Dr. Azza. You're still muted. Doctora, you are muted.
Sorry. Thank you, Dr. Omar. So we have already stated the first two calls, which are on the rapid research grants. Those are for 6 months. Now we will be speaking about the national research grant, which is for 2 years. And this is the first call with the Qatar Museum. Second slide, please, Dr. Omar. Yeah. So this call is called Voices Through Time call, and this is the first cycle. It is launched by QRDI in partnership with Qatar Museum. And the second slide. And we will be speaking about the objective of this call. The objective of this call is that we wanted to assist Qatar Museum to achieve its strategic objectives by providing research opportunities focused at developing implementable new customized solutions that address some of the key priorities related to heritage, identity, and the role of museums. We wanted specifically to target specific areas, which are preserving and safeguarding cultural heritage by developing new methods for conserving tangible and intangible heritage, such as building, artifacts, traditions, languages. We also wanted to promote policy and national capacities in museum studies, heritage conservation, and curatorial research. We wanted to strengthen community identity, resilience, and enhancing social and cultural continuity, positioning Qatar as a global hub for heritage and museum research. Those are the objectives of this call. Second slide. There are 3 priority areas, and I bear with you that you can select one of those priority areas. The 3 priority areas, and in this webinar, and you will find more information and detailed requirement of each priority area in the research for application, which is in our portal. The first priority area is on a national collection, which is documentation and analysis. What do we mean by that? We wanted to address this research question, which is both methodological, drawing on archival research, comparative analysis, to produce a comprehensive historical profile for each artifact, documenting what? The provenance, the historical context, and the significance. What do we mean by the provenance? By the provenance, we mean that we wanted to trace the artifact's origin, the chain of the ownership, and the custodianship. And by the historical context, we wanted to situate the artifacts within their cultural, temporal, and geographical background. And I can read from the RFA is that all these artifacts are under study are part of the Qatar Museum collections, physically housed in Doha. While the emphasis will be on pieces of national heritage, the scope also encompasses items of regional and global relevance reflecting Qatar's role in safeguarding diverse cultural legacies. So this is the most important aspect, which is the national collection, which we mean by documentation and analysis. The second one, which is on the national collection utilization and outreach. What do we mean by that? We wanted the proposals to address the question that can adopt mixed method approaches, integrating both insights of qualitative and quantitative impact matrix for the following areas: the interactive exhibitions and immersive experiences. And by this, we wanted to make sure that you have to examine and deploy the application of augmented reality and the virtual reality to enhance visitor interaction with heritage objects, both in physical museums and online, assessing their validity and engagement and emotional connections within heritage within the Qatari context. And also we wanted to make sure that their visibility is also important, which by visibility we mean the technical, financial, operational requirement for implementation in both physical museum spaces and virtual platform. So this is the interactive exhibition and immersive experiences. We also look at the heritage education. What do we mean by the heritage education? And the heritage education, we wanted to analyze and inform the policies as to integrate heritage content into the curricula, specific models, teacher training in terms of validity alignment with the national education policies, and visibility at a national scale. The digital storytelling platforms, we wanted to investigate and develop online portals, podcasts, documentaries as vehicles for remote engagement and focus on the evidence of effectiveness in attracting remote audiences, enhancing cultural diplomacy and museum roles. Lastly, under the national collection, which is the utilization and outreach priority, there is the community initiative. And in this community initiative, it is important also to inform policy about the feasibility of involvement of local communities in curating exhibitions, collecting oral histories, contributing to digital archives. So the proposals must address to a degree which such approaches foster cultural ownership, inclusivity, and develop logistical framework for sustaining community collaboration without compromising curatorial standards. Lastly is the economic heritage. And in this economic heritage priority, we want to address questions that combine also qualitative and quantitative impact matrix to generate evidence-based tangible outcome of the economic of heritage. We wanted to inform the heritage policy and sustainable development strategies in Qatar through conduct economic impact assessment on heritage-related events, culture, tourism, and partnership. So those are the three priority areas for the VTTC call. Second slide, thank you, Dr. Amr. So like the other two calls, also we would like to leverage and use the Qatar Museum proposals, resources, and we wanted also applicants to identify and justify their utilization aspect of the resources in the relevant section, of course, of the research plan. It is also not mandatory to upload the support letter at the moment, but it is encouraged, of course, and it's obliged after you get awarded. And there is also the contact person here. And we also have with us in this webinar our joint funder representative, who is also happy to answer any questions related to the Qatar Museum resources, or if you have any questions regarding to the objectives or priority that we will open at the end of the webinar under this questions and answers section. Second slide. So now we will go to the application. And what do we mean by application? So we have eligibility criteria for the rapid research grants and also for the national research grants. Eligibility of the lead principal investigator has to be affiliated to approved submitting institution inside Qatar. And he also has to be approved, he has to have an approved terminal degree as defined in the list of terminal degree at the link, which is under the document library. You will find all the links to the terminal degrees, related to the terminal degrees. A question that always asked is that the LPI can submit only one application in one cycle, but can be a PI in more than one cycle. But in one cycle, you have to have only one proposal. Other research team members is eligibility regarding research associate, graduate students, postdoc. Please refer to the personnel requirement document under the document library. The eligibility of the submitting institution, all academic, private, and other example, non-profit organizations, civil society organization, but are entities inside Qatar with QRDI approved research offices are eligible to apply to this call. Eligibility of collaborative institution, collaboration collaborative institution must include at least one affiliated PI. The joint funder staff are not eligible to participate as lead PIs or other team members in this call. So this is something that, because it will cause, of course, conflict of interest. So none of the joint funder staff, either from Education Above All or from Qatar Financial Center or from Qatar Museum, are not allowed to participate in this call. And collaborative institution must include at least one affiliated PI. For the national research grants, which is the Qatar Museum one, the Voices Through Time, institution inside or outside Qatar are eligible to collaborate with the submitting institution. Collaborative institutions must include at least one affiliated PI. And no restrictions. And we want to also emphasize that in the past, we used to have a number of restrictions in terms of publication, in terms of H index, which is for the social science, it was 5 and above. And we used to have a number of publication, which was 5 publications in scientific journals. But now we have, in this eligibility criteria, we have no restrictions in terms of publication, nor for the H index. Next slide, please. Now I will refer to the budget and what do we mean by the budget, and for the duration and for the budget. For the rapid research grants, the budget is 150,000 Qatari riyal, which is equivalent to $41,000 US dollars. And the duration, as I said, for the rapid research grants is 6 months. For the national research grants, it's for 2 years. It's equivalent to $300 US, which is equivalent to 1.095 million. Ineligible budget components, there is no travel cost. Ineligible budget component for the travel cost and for the indirect cost. Grant and effort allocation, 100% effort and 100% of the total budget should be expended here inside Qatar. So if you would like to collaborate with an institution outside of Qatar, you can do that, but it's not all the budget, the total budget has to be spent inside Qatar. Co-funding and cost-sharing are encouraged, so you can also check under the document library for the co-funding and the cost-sharing policy link. Budget components, as I said, you can see it on your right-hand side. There is a link under the document library, and you will find it in light. We'll give you the link at the end, where you'll find all the necessary documents and information regarding budget, regarding co-funding and cost-sharing. Second slide, please. Application type. We have 2 types of application. We have a new and we have a resubmission. And by new, those are for the first calls, such as the one for the agentic artificial intelligence, which is with Qatar Financial Center, and the Qatar Museum call, which is the Voices Through Time. Those are new calls. So when you are submitting your application, please select under the proposal, select new. A resubmission, new application also include proposals also that they did not pass screening in previous cycles. So for example, if you have submitted in another cycle other than those cycles, you can also add it as a new cycle, as new. You can select new in the application type. If it's a resubmission, proposals that pass screening but were not awarded in previous cycle are allowed to be resubmitted in the subsequent cycle as a resubmission. So if, for example, in Lilac cycle 1, if you have passed the screening, but you did not get awarded, you can select resubmission because it's a resubmission of the same proposal probably, and resubmit it in this cycle. If the same applies if you have submitted in another cycle or in another, for example, in another program other than the society pillar programs, you can also select resubmission. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Dr.
Okay.
Azza. So the pre-award phase takes us through the journey of everything from submission up to the award announcement, beginning with obviously the researchers submitting their proposals. The next step is vetting. The vetting is done by the institutions, the applicant institution or respective university. And that step is basically from their side completely. Next is the screening process. The screening process is our QRDI's backstage process, which includes plagiarism, authenticate reports, where we check for resubmissions and other things like that. Now, I'll urge the attendees to recall that this is for the rapid calls as well as the national research calls. What you'll see here is that there is an extra step for the national research calls. I'll get to that in a second. So let's move to the very right of the screen, the programmatic review and the evaluation. That's basically a panel of internal, external reviewers, in addition to our third party or our clients. Could be Qatar Museums, QFC, education above all. We all sit in a large group, rank, evaluate. After that, it moves to the funding decision and then the award announcement. Coming back to the peer review process. The peer review process is exclusive to the national research grants. That's an extra tier of review, which gets sent out internationally due to conflict of interest to outside reviewers. It can be 3 or 5, depending on the call. And then it continues with the same linear progression of moving to the programmatic review, evaluation, funding decision, and then award announcement. So the only difference between the RRG and the NRG is that the National Research Grant, in this case, Qatar Museums 2 years, has the peer review process, whereas the rapid call does not. Once applicants submit, the main sections obviously are some abstract, research area, institution, personnel, their research plan, how they plan to use the money, their ethical IRB approvals, and any intellectual property that may arise from the project. Now on the right there, you'll see a couple of notes. Well, number 1 is the research plan number of pages. That is stuck to 10 now. And then any other further templates, policies, you can visit the QRDI or InnoLight portal to get more info. And as we said, all proposals are expected to be vetted by the submitting institutions. Following that, as you saw previously, it goes to the screening from our side, QRDI side. Now, to remind and recall to the attendees that there are the rapid calls as well as the national research calls. Evaluation for the rapid calls. First, you have the screening, and then you have the programmatic review. For the rapid calls, programmatic review will make up 100% of the overall score. That 100 is split into 4 items: scientific excellence, implementation, how easy that is to be implemented, resources, and valorization or dissemination of your outputs. Those are the 4 categories that you will be reviewed by through 5 different grades: excellent, good, average, unsatisfactory, and poor. Now, if you move your eyes to the right side of the screen, you'll see that it's 100% of the score. Evaluation criteria and weightage has been updated. Alignment number 3 is very important, as there is a client waiting for the outputs. Importantly, any proposal that scores poor will not be considered for funding. There is no budget reduction and no panel conditions imposed. So here is the difference between the rapid calls and the national call. So for the Voices Through Time Qatar Museums call, exactly the same thing. However, the programmatic review is now 60%. That is how relevant it is for Qatar. It makes up 25% of that 60, and the impact for Qatar makes up 75% of that. The additional 40% is through the international peer review process, where the applicants will be judged on scientific excellence, implementation, how they use their budget, the potential impact, and then research compliance. And if we move to the right side, we will see again, programmatic review is now 60%, and the same notes as the last slide: updated evaluation criteria, mandated alignment. If you score poor, you will not be considered for funding, even if it's just in one criteria. No budget reduction, and then no panel conditions. At the end of all of this, you will be graded into awarding A, B, and C. A is highly competitive, B moderately, and C uncompetitive. Terms of and conditions published at the launch, and a notice of award will be required to be signed after completing the pre-funding phase. Now, the most important and repeated question is regarding the time. That brings us to the final slide. So we have two different calls, three calls, but two different grants: Lilac and Agentic AI. Anyone can apply to become ROs and investigators, lead PIs. That's always open. However, from January 7, you can begin submission to the Lilac and the Agentic AI calls. That will end on February 18. So I believe that's 3 weeks-ish. RO vetting, February 26, which is exactly 1 month from today. And then the Voices Through Time, the national call, that is also open to register at any time. However, to submit a proposal began on January 14 and will end on March 11. So you get a bit more time for the 2-year call. And then the RO vetting is on April 1st. Now, we did have a lot of information there. We have been talking for over a half an hour, myself and Dr. Azza. So if there are any inquiries, you can either use this opportunity now to ask, or alternatively, you can use the links on our website, or you can send a ticket. We have several ways to reach us, but for now, let's open the floor to any questions and answers. Myself and Dr. Azza can go through them. Doctora, should we start answering questions?
Yes, Dr. Omar.
Sure. So
Okay.
I can read the first one. It looks like a difficult question. Let's start with a difficult question. Could you please confirm whether a postdoctoral researcher is eligible to submit a proposal under the NRG call, provided that the project has a PI who holds one of the approved terminal degrees? Postdoctoral is already a PhD. What do they mean by approved terminal degrees?
I think for that question, yeah, I think he means eligible Researchers would submit a proposal under NRG, provided that a project has a PI who holds one of the approved. He holds one of the approved terminal degree. It could be a PhD. So in that case, you are. If if he's a postdoc, that means he already has his PhD.
Already eligible.
And he is eligible. Yes,
Okay.
go ahead, Dr.
I
Omar.
think so. Let's see. I have two questions. One, can the LPI in one call, but PI in more than one call? Yes, that's correct. Question number two,
Yeah.
can I have multiple PIs who are not in Qatar in the call?
Mhm.
Multiple PIs who are not in Qatar, that's fine as long as the LPI is with an institution that's in Qatar. Okay, next.
Yes.
For the Voices Through Time, cycle one, we see the RFA state that 20% budget can be outside Qatar. Please confirm. Yes, this is
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
While resubmitting a proposal, is it allowed to change the title of the proposal? Yeah, I
Yes.
guess that's fine.
Yes, you
That's
can
no
also.
problem with that.
Yes.
Okay, this is a long question. Do I have to have a degree in the related field to submit the proposal? No, you can have a degree in anything to submit the proposal. Next question سؤال بالعربي. السلام عليكم، شكرا على العرض القيم دكتور عزة ودكتور عمر. أود السؤال حول إمكانية التقديم للمنحة البحثية، حيث أنني على وشك الحصول على درجة الدكتوراه، يعني لحد الآن. أوكي. في اللغويات التطبيقية من تونس، مع العلم أنني مقيمة في الدوحة. هل التقديم ممكن أم يلزم الانتظار إلى حين الحصول على الشهادة؟ So I'll just quickly translate the question for everyone. Basically, they are about to get their PhD degree. The question is, can I apply or do I need to wait until I get my degree? The answer is you need to wait.
Yeah, you have to wait. There's no, she has to wait. But she can join as a PI or as a research graduate or a post or as an associate or research assistant, whatever, depending on the lead PI. The lead PI has to have an affiliated degree, a terminal degree, a PhD and above.
Correct.
Okay.
The next question seems to have been answered, but just since it's been asked several times, several open calls, it's possible for the same person to apply as LPI to different grant calls. You are not allowed to be LPI for several calls. You can be LPI for one and PI for several.
Yeah.
Same question again. Are there opportunities, Dr. Azza, for collaborations with external PIs or researchers?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, there is opportunities to collaborate with external PIs and researchers, example, the UK. But for the rapid research grants, they can collaborate, but the budget, it's not, there's going to be at the zero budget. But for the national research grants, which is the Qatar Museum, there is a 20% budget.
Same question coming up again about LPI from Qatar, while the PIs is abroad, in this case, Jordan. Yes, he may join.
Yeah.
Only educational institution can give proposals or individuals also? I didn't completely understand the question. If only individuals, then for sure one person can't handle this project. Okay, so the idea here is educational institutions don't give proposals. Individuals working in educational institutions or any institution can give proposals as long as there's a research office.
And also, it's that individual has to be affiliated to an institution which has been approved by QRDI. So it's not any individual person who holds a PhD can apply. So you have to be affiliated to an academic or to an approved institution under the QRDI
Mhm.
to make it clear for them.
We have a question from Nikita. If there are international collaborators, how can the funding be shared? How can the funding be shared? You are allowed 20% to go overseas
For the NRGs.
for only the NRGs.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
There's one question for Lilac, I guess.
for Lilac, could you please share the resources available at Education Above All so LPIs can plan for this in their proposals instead of each one sending separately to them seeking guidance? Um,
This depends on the proposal and the plan and your objective of the research, but we have here with us our joint funders from Education Above All. Do you would like to answer any this question, please? Mr. Mubashir or Mr. Leonardo?
Yeah, hello. Am I audible? Are you able to
yes,
hear
we
me?
hear you
Yes,
clearly.
yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, perfect. So basically, like you mentioned, Dr. Azza, with each proposal, there are each specific requirements. In terms of EAA, the level of in-kind support that we are offering is basically consultation sessions at high level and technical level that could help the proposals and the project. So it will ultimately depend on the type of proposal. Like mentioned, we will be facilitating consultation sessions with our programs and our technical team.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
Mr.
for
Mubashir.
that. I'll move on. There is a question about, are there any relaxations for private companies for registering as a research office? For instance, startups. Um, no, this is not something that we currently do. Research office for private companies, no.
No, but they can join as collaborator through an institution which has an approved research office.
Correct.
Yeah.
Dr. Azza, could you please repeat the part about eligibility of collaborative institution? Um, what makes an institution eligible, I guess? They have to be
A
registered.
collaborative institution, those are the institutions that has a research office, an approved research office through our QRDI. And you can find more information on this eligibility of collaborative institutions in our document library. You'll find all the documents related to collaboration and collaborative institutions. But we mean also collaborative institutions could be um, institutions who are having a research office here inside of Qatar, or also it could be a collaboration of an institution outside of Qatar, and that applies to the NRGs. And you'll find all the information about it in the document library, I guess. So if that answers your questions. And if you need further exact details, please raise a ticket of exactly what you would like to explain or to answer a specific question regarding the collaborative institutions, and we will answer you through the tickets support system.
We have two questions regarding the efforts and the funding inside and outside. So let's just clarify it one more time. For the rapid goals,
Yeah.
100% is inside Qatar. For the national calls, it's 80 and 20% that goes outside.
Yes.
Farzeen is just double checking. I am referring to different grant calls, not two proposals under the same call. For example, one proposal for climate change and a separate proposal for food security. Yes, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? The Voices Through Time applications partnership with QM. Is QM the client? What is their interest? So we have all the research priority and their objectives and their motivation for the call. It's all mentioned there in the documents.
We can have, we also have with us the joint funder from Qatar Museum. If you would like to answer this question, or if you have a specific emphasis that you would like to state to the researchers, please feel free. Miss Haya.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahma.
Thank you for this wonderful presentation. I would also like to add to the mission and pillars that you mentioned of Qatar Museum. This research will allow us to verify and authenticize the artifact and object that we have. It will also verify, as you mentioned earlier, the ownership history, and it would give an access and transparency to our collection. When we talk about Qatar museums, usually people think of Museum of Islamic Art or National Museum or even sporting museums. But the collection that we are talking about here is a collection that has been does not belong to any of the open museums, and it's been kept in storage. So by giving this opportunity to research the collection that we have, we emphasize on the importance of the curatorial and even sometimes like conservation aspect of it. Despite having the collection stored in a storage facility, we nearly exhibitions and event, we participate through exhibitions, through different type of events, through collaborations, and sometimes even external ones. So this will improve and enhance the research, the verification, and the collection care that we do within our collection. It will allow researchers from different perspective, from different aspects to involve and to enrich the content that we have. Additional thing is that our collection is diverse, so we are not looking here for a specific aspect of a museum. We are open and welcome for any researcher who would like to enrich the content of archaeological objects, for jewelry, for weaponry. We also have international media collection. So it's something that I would like also to draw the people attention here to, especially that we are focusing nowadays on the verification of the antiquity collection that we have in our custody and the media collection as well.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Haya. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Doctora, let's move on to the last few questions. As someone who is currently not affiliated with an institution, what would be the best way to get involved or prepare for the future calls? My answer would be a consultant would be the easiest way. What do you think, Dr. Azra?
Yes, yes. If you're not affiliated, the best way is to either be involved as a consultant. Yes.
That's probably the fastest way.
Yes.
The longest way would be to get a PhD.
Yeah.
For LILAC, the question is, are all the priority questions need to be addressed, or do we choose one of them?
Preferably all, but you can choose one of them, but that also depends on the proposal and your idea. So once you are constructing your proposal plan, so you have to take into consideration most of the questions, advisable and encourageable. Yep.
We have a question in Arabic here. أنا راح على الجزء الأول من المحاضرة. عندي سؤال: هل ممكن طلاب المدارس المقدمين على المسابقة الوطنية للبحث العلمي أن يقدموا للمنحة؟ لا، ما يصير لأن ما عندهم approved degree، ما في دكتوراه. You cannot apply if you do not have an approved degree. You responded that an LPI could be LPI in one proposal. Could you clarify your response to another question that asked if a proposal could be submitted in two different calls? So, Doctora, can you apply the same proposal for two different calls? I don't know how you could do that since they would be different calls. one would be asking about agentic AI and one would be asking about education. I don't know how you could
Exactly.
put the same proposal. Maybe
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
Yeah, it could be maybe it's just a misunderstanding. I meant that the lead PI can apply to one call and PI and can be also a PI in another call. But you cannot be a lead PI, you have the same proposal and then you submit it in 2 or 3 calls. That is not possible. Because that's going to be the same proposal and the three calls are of different priority areas and objectives. So it's not logic to have one proposal that will fit the 3 calls.
Okay. So Zaid is asking for Lilac, since it involves several activities that may include IRB requirement, survey interviews, training. Is there a possibility of no cost extension if awarded? Yeah, there is a possibility.
There is a no cost extension of 1 month, but we would like to encourage that, especially the 6 months period of rapid calls, especially that they are only for a short period of time, that once you get awarded, it's a stage of the pre-award to start applying for your IRB requirement survey interviews, training, etc. Try to also make your, while you're constructing your proposal plan, that it is logically and realistically feasible within the 6 months so that you don't face any issues regarding IRB approvals, granting the IRB, and all these problems that we all know as researchers that it takes some time. So try to, while you're constructing your plan proposal, to be as realistic as possible to complete within the 6 months.
We have a few more. Can consultants be paid, Doctora?
Consultants cannot be paid in the rapid research grants, but in the national research grants, I think they have a 20%. They have availability.
Is it just research or also implementation?
It depends on the research call objectives. Please check the research call objectives and priorities and alignments and outcome. Most importantly is if there is an implementation, you need to state it that there is going to be an implementation after the completion of the project, etc. But it depends on the research call objectives and what is needed from each call so that you can answer your proposal and question. Most importantly is the valorization at the end, because at the end, each call addresses a certain objective, a certain priority area that will serve the end user, which is our joint funder. So try to make your proposal as much as possible while you are preparing it to serve the objectives of the call, aligns with the objective of the call, and serves the end user joint funder purpose and implementation. If there is an implementation, please state it clearly that there is going to be an implementation in your proposal and from the research.
Can startups be involved in national research as collaborative institutions? No, because they're not an RO, or as part of the research consortium to drive impact. You can only be involved if you have a RO, a research office, and you're approved institution. Otherwise, you can register as a consultant.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
sorry.
Are there any shared resources or platform to access? Yes, we do. Any platform, LinkedIn group for ideas, brainstorming. We actually have a social science community platform. I will type it and post the link for you. But basically, if you go to InnoLight, which is the QRDI website, on the top right, you'll see communities, and that's where you can access all the different communities we have where you can share ideas and brainstorm and network with other researchers and other. Okay.
And we'd like to encourage all the researchers under the social science to please join the community. And also in this community, you will find also your other peer researchers and fellows who are you might link with them, find you can network, you can find some ideas to explore. So this platform is really good for an interaction, for posing out discussions, etc., as Dr. Omar has stated.
Can I include an associate researcher in my proposal, and he includes me an associate for the same project? No, you are an LPI for one, and you include your friend, and then your friend is the LPI for the other one, and he includes you, but for the same project would be. But I think that's what the question meant.
Yeah.
I don't understand this question. Maybe you can help, Doctora. What is the criteria for the data section to be marked yes in the ethical compliance section?
I myself, I'm reading it and I can't understand it. I don't know what does that mean. But if you would like to, what's the criteria for the data section to be marked yes in the ethical compliance? Oh, it's probably because that if you, for example, are you in your data section, are you going to, if I understood the question right, regarding if you are in the data section, if you are going to have human subject research, contact with human subject research, then you need an ethical compliance and you have to mark that section with a yes, because that needs an IRB, if I understood you correctly. If you don't have any human subject concerns or you have no contact with any human subjects, you don't need an IRB approval. Because you will be based your data, it's going to be on secondary data analysis and no human subjects. So in that case, you can mark it as no, you don't need an ethical compliance section. So this is if I got your question correctly. If you want further remarks or further clarification, please send a ticket to our IT support.
We have one last question. I think maybe Nadia could be the person to answer this. Are we going to receive the session recordings? This has been asked several times. Is this webinar?
Yes, it will be uploaded. It will be uploaded in our InnoLight website soon.
And with that, it brings us to the end of the questions. Doctora, I'll pass it on to you if you want to make any final.
Thank you.
remarks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you also the joint funders. I'll give a last remarks. If you have any comments, do you have any remarks that you would like to say to the researchers, please feel free before we close our meeting. Joint funders from Qatar Museum, Education Above All, Qatar Financial Center. Do you have any remarks or all is well? Mr. Leonardo, yes, please.
Thank you, Dr. Azza. Thank you, Dr. Omar. I just want to again say it's a pleasure for us from Education Above All to be cooperating with QRDI on the second lifelong learning education call. We are very excited about the opportunity of having more research on the implementation of green education curriculum integration in Qatar, and we'll be welcoming, especially if researchers give us reflections and directions in relation on how the curriculum and the skills on the green education leads to education and green jobs, because it's very important for us to see the link between the learning outcomes that comes from the green skills in the curriculum and how they are transferable to employability and opportunities. So thank you so much again for working with us on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Leonardo. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Hayat, do you have any comments?
Yes, I want to say that I'm looking forward to this, and I hope that we will have different views, different interpretation of the objects and the selection that would be the outcome of this research project, inshallah, in the future.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Ms. Haya. Mr. Vikram, from Qatar Financial
Yeah,
Center. Yes.
hi, this is Vikram from the Qatar Financial Center. We really look forward to working with the researchers on this. This topic is an emerging topic. Everybody in, whether it's software or business is talking about it. So we talk about agentic AI, how it's going to change the business landscape. So we are very interested in how this is going to impact, the regulatory landscape, because that's, our area of operation. So we'll be very interested to see, what kind of insights our researchers are able to bring in, so that we can incorporate them in, our own future strategies. So we look forward to working with you guys, and really looking forward to having some insights into the matter. Thank you.
Yes. We're also happy to have all our joint funders join us in this meeting. Thank you so much for everyone who joined the webinar. Looking forward to your reading interesting proposals. Thank you, QRDI team, Dr. Omar, and Nadia, Gunjita, everyone. And thank you so much, and looking forward to receiving your proposals, and best of luck, all of you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.